What's up, everybody? This is Andre Jaho with Politics Unfiltered right here on the Undisputed Network's Black News Undisputed. We're here again with another live at 5 experience. All right, guys? So we're about to come on the camera so we can start sharing our stream with everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. All right. Today is Friday, October 3rd, 2025. All right, and we're going to get into some news on today. We're going to be talking about the sentencing of Sean Diddy Combs, ladies and gentlemen. We're also going to continue our coverage on the 2025 government shutdown, our most recent government shutdown. And then we're going to talk a little entertainment news when we're going to talk about Nicki Minaj and Cardi B and their beef that they got going on. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So let me just share this stream with my people and then we can get on with it. All right, we can get on with this show. All right, guys. But yeah, we will be talking about the Sean Diddy Combs trial coming right up in just a minute, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Hope everybody has had a wonderful day. It's been a day. It's been a day, but we're here. We're live at 5 right here on Black News Undisputed. All right, so let me get with the sharing. Bam. We are live. Let's get our sharing. So I be telling people I'm gonna be on, and then I gotta share the stream, you know. Okay, let's see where we at, guys. Leave a comment and let us know that you're watching, guys. Let us know that you are watching the Undisputed Network. Let us know that you are watching the Undisputed Network, guys. Guys, let us know that you are watching. All right, good. Now I can share my link. And then we're going to get into it, guys. Eventually, we'll have someone on staff that can do all this kind of stuff for us. But for the time being, we got to do it ourselves. So that's just where we are right now. All right. All right, we're good. We're good to go. Just sharing this real quick, ladies and gentlemen. I got to get this where I can do a mass sharing, you know? That we can just share it in a mass way and we ain't got to go through all that extra stuff. You know what I'm saying? Okay. I think we're good. All right, y'all. I think we're good here. Let's just check our Facebook feed real quick. That's what you gotta do when you're doing this media stuff. You gotta. All right, we're good. All right, we straight, y'all. All right, y'all. So today, we're going to be talking about the Sean Combs sentencing. Everything is basically looming right now. They're still talking about it. But here is the latest data that we do have on the Sean Combs sentencing. Let's pull that up, get that on the screen. So Sean Combs has been sentenced to 4 years, ladies and gentlemen. He's been sentenced to 4 years. All right, these are the counts that he was charged for on 5 counts. He has 2 guilty verdicts on count 3 and count 5. So let's read down the verdicts, okay? The counts. Count 1, racketeering and conspiracy, not guilty, okay? Count 2, sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion. Count 3, transportation to engage in prostitution. All right. Guilty. He's guilty on that one. Count 4, sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion. Not guilty. Okay. And I don't know why they have it twice, because they have it twice. Well, it's on count 2 and count 4. And then count 5, transportation to engage in prostitution. And he is found guilty. I'm not really sure why they have these twice, but anyway, these are the counts. And Sean Combs has been sentenced to 4 years in prison, ladies and gentlemen. So let's unpack this. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's unpack this a little bit. 4 years is a long time for anybody, okay? I do not foresee Sean Combs getting out before his time. He's been trying to get out. He's been trying to get out on, on good behavior. He's been trying to get out saying that he's not a flight risk. He's been trying to get out and get home before this sentence, and the judge would not let him out of that jail. So now he's been sentenced to 4 years. What I will say is that Sean Combs is not a spring chicken, but at the same time, Sean Combs still has a good amount of time in his life. He's going to have to do his time. And when he comes out, he may write a book. He may do some music again, but Sean Combs will be fine. Sean Diddy Combs will be fine, ladies and gentlemen. He didn't get 10 years. He didn't get 15 years. He didn't get 20 years. He got 4 years. And sometimes you do get out, he may do 2 years, 3 years, depending, of the time. My prayer is that he does not try to seek revenge on those that have testified against him, that this does not become a war, that people don't end up dead, missing, hurt. They say when you do the crime, you have to do the time. So I hope that he just serves his time and then he just gets back to his music and he gets back to his business ventures and he just lives out the rest of his life. He has a family. He has children. He has people that love him, all around him, and he needs to just be there for them. You understand what I'm saying? He needs to be there for them. So yeah, that's where we're at with that. That's where we're at with that. So, yeah, let's just pray for his family. You know what I'm saying? We have to pray for his family. And, we have to wish his family the best. You understand what I'm saying? He can get through this. You know what I'm saying? He can definitely get through this. So, I just hope that this is a lesson learned, and it's time for all of that, all that stuff that he was doing, the freak offs and all of that extra stuff. I mean, I'm sure people have done worse. He just got caught out there. I don't ever want to be, that rich that I'm, not caring about morals. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to be rich in family, I think it's important to be rich in love, not just finance, like I want to be blessed. I want to just, I want to be able to, not just survive, but thrive in life. I want to be able to go buy what I want, take care of my lady, take care, of my, children, take care of, the ones that I love, give to my church and, help build the kingdom of God. That's it. Simple, happy life, not going to parties and drinking and having orgies and doing all this crap that, people do when they have a lot of money, abusing power. We don't need to do that, ladies and gentlemen. It's not that. It's like, come on, let's just be rich in love. Whatever happened to being rich in love, ladies and gentlemen? You know what I'm saying? Whatever happened to that? I don't know. But we have to get back to that place, ladies and gentlemen, where we can be rich in love, you know, because when it's all said and done, families is what's most important. Loving somebody is important. Being loved by somebody is important. That's what's most important to me anyway. It's not about the other things. It's not about all that other extra stuff. I want to live in the will of God. I want to live in His will and His way. I want to love and I want to be loved. So that's the latest on Sean Combs and his guilty verdicts, and he'll be spending the next 4 years in prison. Let's pray for his family. Pray for his family, his loved ones, because, you know, his kids don't deserve, you know, to not have their father in their life for these past 4 years. But at least he's not dead. Let's thank God for that. Sean Combs is still alive, ladies and gentlemen. He's still alive. And that's a blessing, you know what I'm saying? Because it doesn't have to be that way. So 4 years, 2 months in prison, and then he'll be free. And then he's still rich. He can still go and live his life, and he can do all the things that he wants to do. All of the things that this man wants to do, he can go do it, and he can be happy and successful. You know what I'm saying? You understand what I'm saying? So that's all we got about that. And so we're on our third day. We're on our third day of the government shutdown. Day 3 of the government shutdown. And yeah, sucks. The government is shut down again. And as we talked about yesterday, you know, things that we talked about, we ran down a list of, you know, the things that are really affecting, you know what I'm saying, the government, the things that are going to be affecting those government workers. You know, you understand what I'm saying? There's a lot that we talked about. If you didn't see that show, I hope that you would look through, you know, go back to that live and look through that information, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? But, man, I tell you, I was talking to someone today, and we were talking about Donald Trump and, you know, talking about how, you know, people went and were voted for this guy, you know what I'm saying? You know, black folk. I got to talk about my people right now. You know, you guys voted for this man. Spanish people, you know, Hispanics voted for this man. You know, you vote for this guy, and when stuff starts getting crazy, you're wondering why. You're like, man, why is life so bad? Why is, you know, why are these things happening? You know what I'm saying? Why? You're like, why is this happening? Why is that happening? Blah, 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 blah. You understand what I'm saying? You can't wonder why. You have to say, hey, you know what I'm saying? These things are happening because we allowed it to happen. You understand what I'm saying? We allowed these things to happen. You know, when you vote for someone like Donald Trump, then, you know, crap like this is going to happen, ladies and gentlemen. You understand what I'm saying? So the shutdown will drag into the weekend. I just pulled this up for Fox Live now. But yeah, the government will be shut down throughout the weekend, ladies and gentlemen. So that's something that we can look forward to. We did pray for the families of those that are going to be affected by it. I don't believe that anybody has lost their job yet. But, you know, the government is shut down. They're not at work. They're not getting paid. So they're starting to lose money. Hopefully people have come up with a contingency plan. Hopefully people have already had a savings, and they can start planning ahead. Hopefully, come Monday, no later than Tuesday, they'll have come to a resolve, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully they will have come to a resolve, and then they can say, you know what, yeah, let's stop the foolishness. This is dumb, this is crazy. Let's come to this resolve and just get this done, because we got to get back to work. There's so many other important things that we need to be focused on, but we are where we are. You understand what I'm saying? So, what you're gonna do, ladies and gentlemen? What you're gonna do? We have to just bear and grin it. We got to bear and grin it. It's sad though. It's not something that I enjoy talking about. I don't like that. We have to be in this place in life. I never thought that I would live to see times like this. We have people like Donald Trump. Donald Trump, if you look back at his family, and this is something very that I've been thinking about. If you look back at this man's family history, his family has roots in the KKK, well-known racists. You know what I'm saying? They're at the part where this man does not like black and brown people, blacks, Hispanics. Make America Great Again is a symbol of getting America back to the place where white people are on top and we're on the bottom. That's what Make America Great Again represents. Not allowing us to be in the majority. Now, if you see the count, if you do the census, black and brown people are becoming the majority. So that's another reason why you have these, with the abortion, they don't, what I'm saying, they don't want people having abortions, especially the white women. They don't want white women having abortions because they feel like they need to be making babies so they can become the majority again. They can't say, yes, have an abortion. They can't tell black people or Hispanics to have an abortion. They don't want that. They don't want anybody to have any abortions. So when you really think about it, it's a strategic plan, ladies and gentlemen, that that they have, because they're scared. The right. You remember what I told you about the right on yesterday? When I talk about the right, I'm talking about Republicans. When I talk about the left, I'm talking about Democrats. The right-wing activists, they want America to be back like the good old days, back in slavery times. They don't even want women to have power. And I'm not just talking about black women. I'm talking about white women too. They don't want women to have any say. They want it where the white man has the final say. This is what they want. Now, I'm not saying that all white folk are thinking like this, okay? I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is that this is what racist white folk want. Folk like Donald Trump. That's what Make America Great Again symbolizes. That's what it all boils down to, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, that's what this whole thing, boils down to. So, what can we do? What can we do as Americans? What can we do as black African American citizens in the United States? Yes, we got to pray. We definitely have to pray. I'm a firm believer that when you are a believer in Jesus, that we don't live by the world system. that the world could be going to hell in a handbasket, if you've ever heard that statement before. But if we got Christ on our side, he'll give us grace and he'll give us mercy. He'll give us undeserved favor. You know what I'm saying? That's the zone that I live in. That's the zone that I've been living in my whole life. Undeserved favor. Grace, mercy. Okay? My whole life. So no matter what the circumstances are happening right now, Trump's been the president before. The first term that he served. I didn't miss a meal then. I'm not missing a meal now. And it's not because of something good that I did, but it's because of God's grace and his mercy. Let me go back to full screen. It's because of God's grace and his mercy, ladies and gentlemen. So we got to pray, but we also have to put in the work. When we talk about voting, getting to the polls, making your voice heard, voting is your voice, ladies and gentlemen. I can't say it enough. I cannot say this thing enough. Voting is your voice. And if you don't believe me, look who's in the White House right now. A lot of people voted for this man. And then there's a lot of people that didn't vote at all. But I know I said yesterday that I wanted us to consider if Madam Vice President Kamala Harris had won and actually been the president, would we be going through these things right now? I don't know, but I highly doubt it. But the way America's set up right now, with the right and power, they don't even want their own kind, even when it comes to, they don't want any women to be in power. They are under the mindset that a woman's place is to be barefoot, pregnant, and in the kitchen. That old school mentality. Barefoot, pregnant, and in the kitchen. That's how, and quiet. That's how they want their women. Let alone a black woman. The white man wants his woman, the white woman, to be quiet, to be barefoot, and to be in the kitchen. And that's it. He don't want to hear her opinion. Ladies and gentlemen. This is the study. This is what statistics show. Okay, you can study this thing and see that. They didn't put Hillary in. Hillary Clinton qualified. Hillary Clinton, one of the most qualified women. She should have won. She should have been the president. She's a white woman. They weren't gonna put her in there. So you think if they didn't put Hillary Clinton in the White House, you think they're gonna put Kamala Harris in the White House? Oh, heck no. No. I've daydreamed in the past about Michelle Obama running. I've daydreamed about that. I've daydreamed about Michelle Obama running for president. And I'm like, man, this would be so amazing if, Michelle Obama ran for president. It would be like, I think it would be like one of the greatest things ever. But, you know what I'm saying? I don't even think Michelle Obama really wants to do that. I don't think it's something that even Michelle Obama had wanted to do. It's not something that she wanted to do because, she saw what her husband had to go through. You know what I'm saying? Her husband had to go through a lot. You know what I'm saying? Being the president of the United States. And that's not something that she really wanted to have to go through. But she's qualified. She's definitely qualified, and I feel like she could have won. But then she's a black woman. You know there was voter fraud, ladies and gentlemen. They were taking mail-in ballot boxes and ballots. They were taking these ballots and burning them. They were going into the boxes, into the mailboxes, and taking the ballots out. So a lot of ballots didn't even get counted. That's voter fraud. That's voter sabotage. That's interference in an election. This stuff is happening. This stuff happened, and it'll continue to happen. Let another qualified black person run for the presidency of the United States, and let it seem like they even have a little chance of winning. They're going to do the same thing, ladies and gentlemen. They're going to do the same thing, okay? So, we have to be diligent, y'all. We have to be diligent. And, we have to vote like our life depends on it, guys. It's so serious. It is so serious. I'm so serious about that. Y'all think this is a game, but it's not. This is not a game, y'all. You understand what I'm saying? This is something that we have to live with. You understand what I'm saying? This is something that we're going to have to go through this. I'm torn, ladies and gentlemen. We're living in serious times, guys. And I can't stress voting enough. I can't stress letting your voice be heard. We are so fixated on fantasy and fairy tale, ladies and gentlemen. I know I'm going all over the place right now, but I just have a lot on my mind. And I'm just dumping everything. But voting is important. One day we're going to do a show on voting. Now we'll put it together real nice, and we're gonna like talk about the importance of voting. We're gonna have some older folk on. I'm gonna have some senior citizens on, so they can tell you why you should vote. People died, so you and I could have the right to vote. But you guys take it for granted. Like you take it for granted voting. My voice don't matter. They're going to do what they want to do anyway. If 20,000 people say that, have that mindset that they're going to do what they want to do anyway, so I'm not going to do it. That 20,000 people could have got Kamala Harris over the top, and she could have been the president right now. But 20,000 people were like, my voice don't matter. What I have to say don't matter. Whatever. They sat on the couch and just watched us get into a disaster. Look where we're at right now, y'all. Would it have hurt if you just would have voted for Kamala Harris? Or just not voted for Donald Trump? At least voted for somebody, so that could be a vote that wasn't for Trump. Because not voting is a vote for the opposition. I hope you understand that, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you really can grasp that and understand that when you do not vote, it is a vote for who you don't want in there or who should not be in there. So at least vote for somebody. Don't just say, I'm not going to vote for anybody. Don't have that mindset, guys. Donald Trump had some pictures of some Trump 2028 hats in the Oval Office recently. Donald Trump is trying to be a king. He wants to be a dictator. He wants to do this on his own. He wants to rule the world. if Donald Trump has his way, then come 2028 January, he will be still sitting in the White House. He will make it so that we don't have to vote. There will be no election. If the government is shut down, let's say the government is shut down again during time when we're supposed to be voting. I don't know if that happens. Maybe Donald Trump is getting us used to not having to vote. You know, he's starting to get us used to the government being shut down, so we can be used to it, and it can be a normal thing. And then he can just make all the decisions because the government is not working to make the decisions that need to be made. There's a lot of strong opinions on this, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of strong opinions, but at the end of the day, voting is your voice. And if we get another opportunity in 2028 to vote, I implore you to get out there. Make your voices heard. Don't sit on the couch again. Because when you sit on the couch again, when you sit on the couch and you don't make the moves that you should make, then this is what we get. A government shutdown. We get ICE agents running down families, splitting up families of hardworking immigrants that have been here for a long time, 10, 15, 20 years, helping to build this country, to just be snatched off the street, or people coming to their house and taking them out of their home and snatching them from their families. That's what you get when you don't vote, ladies and gentlemen. That's what you get when you don't let your voice be heard, ladies and gentlemen. This is what you get. This is sad, ladies and gentlemen. This is a sad day that we're living in, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very passionate about this because I feel like ICE agents being able to go into an immigrant's home and arrest them and send them back to their country just like that. No trial, no warning. They just can grab them, snatch them from their family. That's wrong. Slavery was wrong. And what's happening to immigrants in all across America right now, that's wrong too. And they're experiencing it right now. I've not experienced slavery. It's still wrong. But I could imagine being ripped away from my family, being ripped away from my community, and not getting a fair chance. Not even saying, well, at least take this test, and if you pass this test, you can stay. No, we're just ripping you out. We're going to arrest you. We're going to put you in cages. We're going to put you on a plane and send you back to your country. And a lot of times, it's the father, the man of the house. That's the one that they send back. He's the one that's working. The mother is home, raising the children. You take that man out of the house, then what? That family's going to have to struggle. Maybe the wife doesn't have any skills. That's emotional damage too, ladies and gentlemen. That's emotional damage. It's emotions. That can play a big effect on people's mental health. These small children watching their father, or even their mother, it happens to the women too, be snatched from them. That can scar them for life But this is what happens when you don't vote, ladies and gentlemen. This is what happens when you say my voice doesn't matter anyway. They're going to do what they want to do anyway. This is what happens. If you did not vote in 2024, you have no right to complain now. I voted for Kamala Harris. She didn't win. Okay. And I'm not saying I'm complaining, but I'm letting my voice be heard. And you don't just let your voice be heard just by talking. You got to take action. When you want change, then you got to do something about it. The late great Black Eagle, Joe Madison, used to say, you want change? What are you going to do about it? So I ask the question, ladies and gentlemen, what are you going to do about it? If 20,000 of you say, I'm going to do something about it, then something can be done. But if 20,000 of you, and I'm using that number 20,000 because that's a high number. There's some stadiums that fit about 15 to 20,000 people. If a stadium full of people said, I'm going to do something that's going to make change in America, then America will feel that change. Because there's strength in numbers. There's strength in unity, ladies and gentlemen. But if 20,000 people say my voice don't matter anyway, I don't watch the news, I don't watch politics. If you do that, ladies and gentlemen, then when the rubber meets the road, when it goes down like this, like it's going down right now, when you decide not to take action, then whatever we get, you can't complain about it. You have to just deal with it. Excuse me. You just have to deal with it, ladies and gentlemen. You have to deal with it. That's all I got on that. I'm just very passionate about that, and it sucks. But let's continue to pray for these people. Okay? Let's continue to, just pray for these people. That's the best thing we can do, guys. That's the best thing we can do. So, next on our list. Next on our list, ladies and gentlemen. I was trying to get a better picture than this, but I guess this is what I got to deal with. Cardi B and Nicki Minaj. That's what we're going to talk about next, ladies and gentlemen. And I normally don't talk about entertainment, stuff like this. I actually like Cardi B. I'm just going to be real. I really like Cardi B. I met Cardi B some years ago And never, I listened to rap growing up, but uh, she was considered one of the newer rappers, and I know she was on Love and Hip Hop, and that's how I was introduced to her from the show Love and Hip Hop, even before I heard her music. Okay, loved the personality. It was like the personality was what grabbed me. It didn't have nothing to do with her looks, her body, her looks, anything like that. It was the personality that gravitated to. She was very entertaining, and I could appreciate that. So then I started looking up her music, started listening to some of the music. I said, okay, she's pretty dope. She's pretty cool. Nicki Minaj, I know Nicki Minaj. I've listened to some Nicki Minaj stuff. I know Nicki Minaj has a couple songs. She done some collabs with Mariah Carey. Um, so I've heard some of her music. Not really a big fan of Nicki Minaj like that, but you know her. I know her. These are two women that are very influential in the world of music and hip hop, pop culture. But they're acting like children. They're beefing over stupidness. Why are you beefing? You're rich. I wish I had their money. I wish I had the money that these two women had. But they say money doesn't bring happiness. You can have all the money in the world and still be miserable. It's family, as I said earlier. Being rich and family is what really matters, not finance. You can have all the finance in the world and you can have two of the most successful women right here. Successful women, rich, popular, influence. But they're arguing over stupidness. For what? They need to be coming together. They need to be coming together and teaching young girls how to be women. They need to be role models. But they are being role models now. They're being role models, but not in a positive way, ladies and gentlemen. These two young ladies are being role models in a negative way because they're arguing, they're fighting, they're talking about each other. They're bringing each other's children into this, which is something you just don't do. They need to come together. They should do a podcast and talk about how they became successful. Teach young women how to be classy. Teach young women how to survive. Help young women that may have come up the way they came up. I know Cardi B was a stripper and all that. She should be talking to strippers. Saying, hey, you have any talents? Can you cook? Can you do this? Can you do that? Let me show you how I got out the game. And then Nicki Minaj can tell her story of how she got out of the ghetto and how she became successful and rich. They should be doing that. That's more productive, ladies and gentlemen. But not arguing and fighting with each other. And some of you might not even know that they're fighting. I just thought it was important to talk about. I thought it was worth bringing up. And I bring it up to say that for those of you watching that may have a little power and influence, young ladies, women, you might be a manager at a restaurant. You might be a manager at a warehouse, and you might have a little power. You might be a leader in your church. I'm talking to the women right now. If you're a role model, then be a role model. Don't bicker, don't fight with other people. We're supposed to be in this together, ladies and gentlemen. We need to be in this together, guys. Because life is short. Life is too short to be fighting over foolishness, bull crap. Okay? It's too short. So Nicki Minaj and Cardi B, get y'all stuff together, please. Get it together. Because it's not worth it. You're both filthy rich. Come on. There's millions of people that would love to take your place. And would they be fighting about stuff like that? I don't think so. That's all I got, y'all. Thank you so much for joining us for this today's edition of Live at 5. We'll be here again on Monday. I want you to enjoy your weekend. We will be back here doing a live stream. We're going to do another live stream. We're going to have a prayer moment. We're going to pray. Not right now, but we're going to have a moment of prayer. We'll do a separate live stream for that. We will be live and we're going to pray. And I'm going to try to get some people on to come on so I can get some prayer warriors. We need to pray for the nation. So we're going to have that kind of programming right here on the Undisputed Network. Okay, we're going to have some prayer time. And we're also going to have worship. Okay, we're going to have some worship. We're going to be able to listen to some gospel music. I'm going to share some songs and just share my love for gospel music and how gospel music has helped me with a show that we've done on TikTok exclusively a couple years ago called The Gospel Music Breakdown, where we're going to break down, I'm going to break down my favorite gospel songs and gospel artists, break down the songs, the words, the gifting of gospel, Gospel is so important and powerful, and it means a lot to me, and I just want to share that. So that will be something I will be doing, and we'll definitely have some worship leaders on that will be able to share, and it's going to be a good time. All right, guys? So please enjoy the rest of your weekend. Be safe. God bless you all. Have fun. Be safe out there. And continue to acknowledge God in all your ways so he will direct your pathways. All right, guys? We'll see you on the next episode. You're watching Politics Unfiltered Live at 5 edition right here on the Undisputed Networks. Black News Undisputed. I'll see you on the next one.